Would like to welcome you all. Thank you for coming for this second annual fundraising event for ECN on behalf of the Cancer Children Hospital in Egypt, 57357. Today we have a full program, and the first apology, we are running late already 30 minutes. So we will try to catch up during the duration of the program. Would like to start by thanking this community for their continuous and generous support always. In fact, we have started this together last year, almost the same day, on the 7th of April last year. It was the very first fundraising event for ECN in the United States. And after that, we encouraged many other cities, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, North Carolina, Detroit, you name it, there was a chain of cities that followed suit. And they were always trying to compete with the event that happened in Dallas. We were always telling them we set the bar high, and everybody was trying to meet that bar. So I would like this community to give an applause for what they are always doing to the good causes, and certainly for triggering this chain of wonderful events in the United States for ECN, which raised millions of dollars. All right, today we have a full program. We are trying to improvise every year to make it better than the last year. And we have a wonderful set of guests. Some of them are coming from Egypt, some of them are coming from other states. And I would like to start by welcoming them one by one. So I'll start with the table right in front of me. I have Mr. Izzat Abu Auf, who is our wonderful actor and musician, and غني عن التعريف in Arabic. And I would like to all to welcome him. He did not hesitate when we called him. He said, "I'll be there," which is, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. Also, I would like to welcome Father Boulis, who is the representative, who also did not hesitate to come to New York event and from New York to here on almost a 2 hours notice. Dr. Sharif of Naga, who's not here this year, the one who addressed you here last year, basically just told him right on the spot, "Why don't you come with me?" And they have to go to Pope Tawadros to ask him for permission, and he immediately gave the permission. So we thank you so much for coming from Egypt for this. Also, just one. All right, so continuing with the rest of the guests, we also have Dr. Usama Bahlul, who's coming to us from Tennessee, I believe. And he is a PhD from Al-Azhar University. He is a well-known speaker in lots of mosques and Islamic centers in the United States. Please do welcome him. Then we have our keynote speaker, who is just arrived on the spot from Italy. Mr. Jonathan Bailey, who is the architect that designed the hospital, the building for 57357, and who's the one that's working on the new project for the hospital, and wonderful work. He is a very well recognized architect for his work with a lot of hospitals around the world. Please do welcome Mr. Jonathan Bailey. And last but not least, we have a wonderful a musician that's coming to join us from New York, Mr. Shabana. I can't, where is he? Oh, here is he. Please welcome Mr. Shabana. He's going to play a lot of nice oud for us today, so we are very happy with him to come to New York. Thank you for coming from New York, Chris. All right, with this, Mr. Shabana will actually sing the national anthem. So please welcome him on the stage.
هنقف ولا ايه؟ ولا نقول احنا قاعدين؟ بلدنا بقى ونحبها معلش. في اجمل من مصر نقف لها؟ بلادي 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 لك حبي وفؤادي، بلادي 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 لك حبي وفؤادي، مصر يا أم البلاد أنت غايتي والمراد، وعلى كل العباد كم لنيلك من أيادي، بلادي 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 لك حبي وفؤادي. شكرا. اسمحوا لي الدعاء ده أنا ببدأ بيه أي حفلة، فاسمحوا لي أهدي الدعاء ده لمصر حبيبتنا كلنا والغالية علينا كلنا. يا رب مصر احمي أرض مصر واحمي شعب مصر، وخلي الحب دايما راية عالية في أرض مصر. يا رب مصر احمي أرض مصر واحمي شعب مصر، وخلي الحب دايما راية عالية في أرض مصر. يا رب نلها وسحر جو لله، يا رب نلها وسحر جو لله، ورب الكنايس ورب الجوامع ورب العجوز اللي في الفجر طالع يسبح بحمدك ويشكر جمايلك على أرض مصر. احمي أرض مصر واحمي شعب مصر، وخلي الحب دايما راية عالية في أرض مصر. احمي أرض مصر واحمي شعب مصر، وخلي الحب دايما راية عالية في أرض مصر. شكرا.
Okay, now with Mona Abu Said, she will talk a little bit about how we do this silent auction while we are doing our event. Mona, please welcome Mona.
Thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm glad you could make it. We have many beautiful items that have been donated and brought from all over for the silent auction. I'd like to send a specific thanks to Miss May, who also brought a lot of things just today, so thank you very much. There are a number of items, and What you'll find is there is a number on the item, and there are sheets in front of them. And on each sheet, there is a minimum bid, an opening bid that you'll start with, and then increments. So if it says the opening bid is 100 and increments of 25, then you just add 25 on. So anytime during the evening, if you want to go browse and take a look, there are a number of pieces such as silver, engraved silver. There are some Arabic calligraphy pieces. We have some artwork, and we also have signed autographed jerseys from Al Ahli and Al Zamalek in Egypt. So you guys can fight over those later. So I'd like to ask Safwan to come back to the stage. Oh, let me go ahead and briefly also say we'll be walking around in a little bit with many other different items, such as blankets that some of the girls made. There are, other items for sale, so just kind of keep your eyes open for all the opportunities to help support the hospital. We thank you for your time, and we'll be talking to you later.
Okay, so as you see here on the screen, they have the program for today. I will improvise on the programs. Father Bulus, I would love that you come and address the crowd before the dinner. Please, welcome, Father.
وجودي في هذا المكان أنا مش غريب على مستشفى 57 أخذت بركة أن أنا شاركت في هذا العمل منذ أول يوم من وضع الأساسات. أهل الخير هم أهل الخير، والمصريين هم المصريين في كل مكان. المصريين في أمريكا أنشأوا جمعية Egypt Cancer Network، مجلس إدارتها من مصريين مقيمين في أمريكا وفي مصر، وبيقدموا خدمات كتيرة لأجل الخير في مصر في مشروعات عظيمة. بيسندوا جمعية أصدقاء معهد الأورام ومستشفى 57 في تطوير أمور هامة جدا. بنسمع عن مشروع 300 سرير، عشان كده بنتمنى من المصريين المقيمين في الخارج وفي أمريكا أنهم يقدموا عطاياهم بحب لأجل هذا العمل. في مصر عملنا مشروع الجنيه الواحد أسس هذا المستشفى العظيم، وفي أمريكا لو الدولار الواحد، وكل ما زاد عطاياهم أيضا كل ما بيعطوه بيؤخذ من ضرائبهم يعني. فعمل الخير موجه للمصريين وأحبائهم وأخواتهم وأولادهم، ونتمنى أن احنا نشوف البسمة على وش محمد وعلى وجه كل الموجودين في المستشفى، ونفرح بسلامتهم وشفائهم.
يقول تعالى: من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه.
قد لا نجد أسماءهم مكتوبة على جدران هذا المبنى، ولكن حتما أسماءهم معروفة عند الله الذي سيجازي كل إنسان حسب عمله.
يسر الله لهم هذه البداية الطيبة وهذا العمل الذي نفتخر به جميعا.
كان حلم وأصبح حقيقة.
هذا العمل راسخ في الأرض وراسخ بمشيئة الله تبارك وتعالى عند رب العالمين في السماوات العلى.
الله ضابط الكل، لذلك نحن نودع هذا العمل بين يديه.
إنا لا نضيع أجر من أحسن عملا،
لأنه عمل للخير لعلاج الأطفال المصابين بمرض خطير هو مرض السرطان. We are talking about a dream came true. We are in front of a real story of success. And this story of success all the Egyptians shared, the old and the young, the Christians and the Muslims, the rich and the poor. And this story of success taught us that success is not only reaching the top, but to continue on. Our Bible said that the God of heaven himself will prosper us. Therefore we, his servants, will arise and build. So the success came from our Lord. But to whom is given? Success is given to the people who arise and work. So this story of success is done after a lot of efforts. This hospital 57357 is a people organization born to reduce, to alleviate suffering, and providing hope to the children suffering from cancer and their families. Every one of us knows how illness is hard, and in particular cancer, and how it became cancer so hard if it reaches our children. I am not now here to speak just on behalf of our beloved Pope or our church. I am here to speak on behalf of all the Egyptians, Muslims and Christians. And I'm here to speak on behalf especially of every child suffering from cancer. This is a great honor to me. Our Coptic Church encouraged that national project since it was a dream. Our beloved Pope Shenouda III, he handed me the responsibility of participating with them since the foundation of this hospital from 2001. And I participated in many TV ads, as you see, to encourage all the people to donate. And His Holiness Pope Shenouda III also himself, he supported the hospital and visited the hospital at 2007. Our churches in Egypt, and especially the youth, in many occasions, especially the feasts, they could always visit the hospital, visit the sick children, offering presents to them and playing with them. And there are many events in the churches where all its income is dedicated to the hospital. And now our beloved Pope Tawadro II is enthusiastic for this project. And he approving my visit to the States to encourage all the Egyptians everywhere to contribute to that national and great work. And he, God willing, soon will visit the hospital. I want to say some stories about this hospital happened with me. I worked with Dr. Sharif because he's older than me, just 3 years. He's a professor in pediatric oncology, and I'm a professor in anesthesia and intensive care in Egypt. He asked for someone to represent the church, and Pope Shenouda sent me, okay. Then after about 6 years from the point of start, he said always that Dr. Sharif, when he reached to Pope Shenouda, and he went to the hospital, and also Bishop Yohannes and so on, he said, oh, I forget Abunaboulis, and I reached to Pope Shenouda himself. But after about 6 years, something happened. One of my children in the church, named Monica, she is 9 years old, and she suffered from cancer brain. They said to me that, and really I start to cry when I heard that, because cancer, if it's away from you, it's something you didn't touch. But when it is close to you, it's something very hard for you and for the family. So I called the Dr. Sharif to let Monica to enter the hospital to be treated. When I raised the telephone and called Dr. Sharif, he said, oh, sorry, Father Boulis, I forget you 6 years, something like that. Tell you, it doesn't matter, I forgive you, it doesn't matter, but I want something from you. He said, okay, Monica will enter the hospital tomorrow. He is so smart. And he knows that I am calling just for Monica. And he said to me, there are other 4 Muslim peoples asked me for Monica. One of them is Assam Sharaf, the Prime Minister, and the daughter of Ganzurian, something like that. So he said to me, the child will enter the hospital tomorrow, but this was on Thursday. But on Sunday, if you didn't come to visit me, I will kick Monica out. So I'm afraid, and I went on Sunday. No. I went on Sunday just to see Monica, to see the hospital. I was amazed. Did the same cleanness. It's so clean, the same organizations, the same discipline. It's very good. Then he surprised me as usual. He said to me, I want you to do a TV ad for Egypt and for ECN. So I asked him, what's ECN? And he started to explain to me this American foundation, tax deductible, something like that, is a good story and a good foundation. So he asked me to do these TV ads. Okay, I agreed. And I first went to the department where Monica is present. When I entered the department, there is a funny story that the nurse, she is Muslim and she wearing al-hijab. When she saw me, she said to me, oh, you are coming to visit either Monica or Mina. I said to her, each department, there are 10 patients. So I said to her, okay, I know now that there are 10 patients. 8 of them are Muslims, and Monica and Mina, there are 2 Christians. She said, right. I told her, okay, I will visit firstly the 8 Muslims, and then I will visit Monica and Mina. And I decided to do the diva ad with Muhammad, as you see. We have to raise the awareness. We have to raise the awareness of the people for that. Then after the TV ads, I went to Dr. Sharif and sat with him. He surprised me again. He said to me, the cops in America didn't share well with me. They didn't help me in ECN. Please, this was on Sunday. He said to me, please, I'm going to Chicago this Thursday, just after 3 days. Can you come with me? I smiled and said to him, okay, now we have a new Bob, and we have to take his permission and his agreement. He said to me, okay, and he wrote the letter, and I went to Bob Shinoda Sunday, and I have a great opportunity to Bob Tawadros to meet him on Monday, and he agreed directly. We're so happy about sharing and about the rule of the Orthodox Church in this event. One of the stories with Monica, which hits me, after she did 3 operations in the hospital, and after I went back to home, I went to visit Monica at home and give her communion and pray to her. When I saw her, she started to receive chemotherapy. And she asked me a question which made me to cry. He said to me that she is sad. So I said to her, our Lord God loves you, Monica. This is true. Our Lord loves her. But she asked me a question which I cannot reply because she is young, she's a child. She said to me, if my Lord loved me, why he allowed me to receive chemotherapy and my hair will fall? This is very difficult to answer. But there is no doubt that we have limited sight. You might be able to see the problem, the tribulations, the needs, but not the blessing that God will positively achieve as a result of these problems. We have to wait for the blessing, God willing. But through faith, we see the blessing and trusting that all things work together for good to those who love our God. This is true. Then we discovered in Egypt that the percentage of cancer in children became more than expected. Thus, the hospital is not capable of offering the service to every child, especially because 57357 offer treatment to every patient, Christian, Muslim, poor and rich, with no discrimination and for free. So we are in front of many projects, future projects. We have to extend 60 beds. We have a branch in Tanta. We have to build another 300-bed hospital. We have a unit for proton therapy and a unit for academic research. So everyone has to share. All of us have talents. All of us have gifts from our Lord. So we have to share. Share by money, share by knowledge, share by what you want, but you have to share. And every one of us had a mission to do. A life without a mission is of no value. And the value of your life comes from the value of your mission. If you have no mission, your life will end with death. But if you have a great mission, your life survives after death. So you have to train yourself to know your mission for the benefit of yourself and for the benefit of the others. Please, we have to share, to encourage all of you to share. We are here to encourage you to maintain the history of success. We have to help the weak, the poor, the sick. This is our meaning of life. The meaning of life is to love and to give. This is the meaning of life, to love and to give. And this is what's written in our Bible. Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do, to him it is a sin. And our beloved John, the disciple, he said, my little children, let us not love in words or in tongue, but love in deed or work. We have to share. I finish by a small story because Safwan stands beside me, so I have to end. So I said the small story, it will encourage you to share, and this is for ECN. I was in an event in Egypt for cochlear implantation. The one who was with me is Mufti Ali Guma. And the Professor Dr. Osama, he is specialized in ENT. He stands to say, I want today, in a gala like that, I want today to collect 1 million Egyptian pounds to save 10 children, to give them hope, to let him to hear, to react. And then the Mufti started to talk after him. He said, oh, your ceiling is so limited. 1 million you want to collect in 10 to 12 weeks, he said that. No, I hope that you have to collect them in just 2 or 3 weeks. Then when I started to talk, I said to them, the collection of money is according to God willing. And I hope to collect the 1 million Egyptian pound today. Really, we collected that day 3 million Egyptian pounds at that day to support the children. So we are all here to share. Our Lord, when he asks something from you, he asks for your heart. And he said, my son, give me your heart. Why he asks for your heart? Because if you give him your heart, you will give him your love, and if you will give him your love, you will share, you will give. And this is good for all of us. This is Egypt. What I see now is Egypt. You have to help Egypt because the children suffering from cancer are waiting for your help. Thank you.
Father Bolis came all the way from Cairo, Egypt, and please tell us why you're here and why you support ECN.
It's a great honor for me to be here. Previously, I was at New York in the previous event in New York, and now in Dallas to support ECN because our church, from the time of Pope Shenouda III, he handed me this project to do a TV ads to support the hospital and to encourage all the people, Muslims and Christians, to share.
Okay.
Because we help the weak children who are suffering from cancer. This something is good in front of God's eyes.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Izzad is a very famous actor from Egypt. And
How
he
do you
came
do?
all the way here, 16 hours on the plane, and tell us why you're here tonight.
It's a great honor for me, as Father Boris said, because charity, I think, is the most important thing for a human to give to another. So it was really a good goal to come here and participate in this event, and I mean, it was quite a filling sensation. You can fill your spirit with the people here, how they are coming, how do they are really want to precipitate, how do they really want to help, how do they are really aware of the children in the hospital, of the cancer hospital. That's great. That's really great.
We have Dr. Osama, and please tell us why you are here tonight.
I am here to give back to the country I grew up in, and it's a great pleasure. I cancel an event to come here, giving to the country and helping the children is a joy itself. If we add to this that the religion, regardless of the religion you practice, encourage us to do so, I think we can understand why so many people are excited. I'm so excited. My daughter, because I just arrived from traveling, and she said, "Why are you traveling back?" And I said to her, "I am going to help the children of Egypt." And she said, "Daddy, this is something nice, and I want to come with you." But she has a school. I am very pleased, and it's a great honor for me to be here today.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
And we have Jonathan Bailey, who is the architect of the original hospital as well as the future expansion of the hospital. And even though you're from Dallas, that's why you're here. But why are you really here?
Why am I really
We're
here?
proud to have you
thank
from Dallas.
Thank
yes.
you.
So,
No, it's brilliant.
and just talk a little bit about the hospital, please.
The hospital's my, I don't know, it's my labor of love, actually. It's
Your
something.
closeness with Dr. Sharif is...
Sharif and the other staff that made it all happen, they're my best friends. They are my, they are the dream makers, basically.
Yes.
And somebody has to help them make that dream
Realize the
happen.
dream.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
As a biology major, public speaking isn't really my thing, but whenever they asked me to speak today, I couldn't say no, because this is a cause I really believe in. For a lot of us, we have a hard time believing things we haven't seen. Honestly, the first time I met Dr. Sharif Abu Naga and he told my family and I about 57357, I couldn't believe it. The videos I had seen seemed unreal. I didn't doubt him, no. But I just had a hard time realizing that a hospital like this existed in Egypt. The largest pediatric cancer hospital in the world is located in Egypt. The idea was fascinating. Nothing failed to impress me. I felt like I was in the US, except everyone was speaking Arabic. I started volunteering with my sister Dalia, and it became a daily thing from 11 to 3. With Cairo traffic on a good day, it would take us about 45 minutes to get there, and on a bad day, it didn't even matter. The point is, it didn't bother me at all. I loved keeping the kids company while they were getting their treatment. We'd draw, play games, and just have fun. We even made about 20 Ramadan lanterns out of paper every day. We were doing anything we could just to make their day go a little bit smoother. And most of the time, the response was a smile, and a repeated smile the next day because they were excited to see us. We even joined 2 other volunteers who were teaching English. Out of all the friends I made at 57357, I made a very special friend named Jenna. She's probably the cutest, smartest, sweetest 6-year-old girl I've ever met. After meeting her in the outpatient department, she told us that she would be staying in the hospital for a couple of weeks, and that she wanted her mom to give us her room number so that we could go up to her room in the tower and see her. The next days, we'd finish our round with all the other children and then go up to see her. We'd play games, we reviewed math, we cooked fake food, we even painted each other's nails. And she kept laughing because I ended up getting more nail polish on my fingers than on my nails. I ended up with nails that were half pink, half purple. Throughout our time at the hospital, parents would always ask us, Why do we volunteer when we're on vacation? Jenna's mom asked me the same question, and I looked at her and I smiled as usual. But she asked me again, seriously, why do you guys come here when you could be out doing something fun? I looked at her and I looked at Jenna, and I told her this was fun. The smile on her daughter's face was priceless. And I wanted to be there for her to support her. She was my friend. And until today, I still keep in touch with her. She even calls me on Viber sometimes. I look forward to seeing her next summer. Even though I was born and raised in the US, my heart is in Egypt, and this hospital gives me hope. I wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted to make a difference, even if it was just by making Jenna or Mariam or Yusuf or any other child smile. These kids are so brave, and they're surviving and beating the odds because of 57357 and the people who support it. I encourage you to support this hospital today, and in the future, donate your time. Visit the hospital and go see it for yourself. Egypt 57357 is a symbol of hope, and we should all be a part of it. Thank you for allowing me to share my experience. Here's a short video to give you guys a preview of what it's like.
Children's Cancer Hospital Egypt 57357 is one of the most stunning examples of what can be achieved when people work together for the common good of their community and world. What started as a dream of a few became the vision of many. Since 1998, the people of Egypt have worked together to build a state-of-the-art children's cancer hospital to achieve the dream of a better tomorrow for our children with cancer. Breaking the frontiers of cure, the Children's Cancer Hospital Egypt 57357 has developed an encompassing mission to cure children with cancer for free, without discrimination to race, creed, or ability to pay, and one that endeavors, with the help of its dedicated, highly trained staff, to establish cost-effective management and treatment systems that are an inspiring model of healthcare delivery and charity. The interior theme, widely utilizing natural light throughout with the selective use of color, makes the hospital a hopeful, secure, and welcoming refuge for the thousands of children who are receiving care there. In compliance with the standards for pediatric oncology care, the patient rooms are single or semi-private to reduce the risk of infection for our immunocompromised patients. The circular bed tower design ensures closer observation of the patient, improving the workflow for the staff, as well as allowing grouping of patients for isolation requirements, specific disease, or age. Patients receive their treatment as in and outpatients with 187 inpatient beds, as well as a 24-hour day treatment area that treats over 200 children per day. As the busiest department in the hospital, the pharmacy is staffed with experienced, dedicated pharmacists and chemists who prepare over 150,000 medication orders per month, according to current best practice. The principle of pharmaceutical care and clinical pharmacy have been applied in our state-of-the-art department to achieve cost-effective positive outcomes for the patient through patient education, close follow-up, as well as advising the physician and nurses regarding drug incompatibilities, adverse drug reactions, and new drug information. The objective of the radiology nuclear medicine departments is to provide the best quality imaging information that clinicians require to diagnose, treat, and follow up the patient. This busy department is equipped with the most up-to-date versions of CT, MRI, fluoroscopy, ultrasound, bone scan, and the first PET-CT scan and cyclotron in Egypt, and performs over 600 procedures per month. The CCHE laboratories provide all the necessary services to perform the leading-edge cancer diagnostics, such as cytogenetics, immunophenotyping, flow cytometry, molecular biology, that are an integral part of treatment planning and determining outcomes in a timely, cost-effective, and measurable methodology. The ultra-modern radiation therapy department has 2 linear accelerators, which are of the latest design and can give the most precise measurements with the least amount of side effects for our children requiring radiation therapy. In order to provide more comprehensive care and advanced treatment technologies to reduce the side effects of radiation treatment further, our goal is to purchase a proton therapy unit, a third linear accelerator, and tomotherapy. The Departments of Laboratory Services, Diagnostic Imaging, and Radiation Therapy are providing an extra source of income for the hospital by making them available for use by external hospitals and adult patients, and have gained over £20 million per year in revenue. Hospital 57357 nurses play an integral role in the care of our patients, taking a lead on all hospital committees as well as formulating nursing strategies and process. They are a combination of diploma, bachelor's, and master's prepared, and are working in management as nurse specialists in research, IT, quality assurance, infectious diseases, infusion team, and education, as well as the most important role of bedside nursing. The critical care floor consists of a highly sophisticated operating room department, recovery, 26-bed surgical and medical intensive care, and a 9-bed bone marrow transplant unit. These 4 departments are situated together in order to provide our patients the most advanced care they require during the critical phases of their illness, which often may require advanced life support, one-to-one nursing care, and a highly specialized treatment team. The vision of the CCHE Psychosocial Oncology Department is to introduce psychological and social care for the child with cancer and his family through a multidisciplinary team approach, so they will find ways to improve quality of life, manage their fears, and find hope for their future. The department, consisting of psychiatrists, psychologists, and social workers, is the first of its kind in Egypt. With a base of over 2,500 committed volunteers from all walks of life, the CCHE Volunteer Department is involved in many types of hospital activities: play therapy, office support, hospital events, and fundraising. CCHE 57357 is a learning organization whose winning proposition is to put knowledge into action by building its processes on evidence-based practice through continuous improvement in learning, training, and exchanging knowledge with others. CCHE has received training grants from external agencies, recognizing that a well-trained staff of all disciplines and levels will not only provide a high level of care in this complex specialty, but also will result in a satisfied, loyal, and happy staff. Collaborations have begun with prominent international centers such as Dana-Farber Children's Hospital Cancer Center and St. Jude's Children's Cancer Research Hospital. CCHE administration believes that research is its methodology to achieve a world-class hospital and a better future for Egyptian people. By fostering innovation, creation, and teamwork, it is integrating research in all hospital activities. The CCHE Scientific Medical Advisory Committee defined the areas of research, the role of the Central Protocol Research and Review Monitoring Office, and the disease strategy groups. The current focus of research is cancer epidemiology, pharmacology, standards of care, and cancer biology. An internal review board composed of a cross-section of committed individuals reviews, monitors, and approves all studies, believing that our patients should continue with their education during their illness so they may achieve their life goals. CCHE partnered with eminent private school Modern School of Egypt to establish an hospital school for all grades. In September 2012, CCHE signed a formal agreement with Dana-Farber Children's Hospital Cancer Center to begin the first Pediatric Oncology Joint Fellowship, which will ultimately include neuro-oncology, neurosurgery, pharmacy, and nursing fellowship programs to increase the number of qualified Egyptian healthcare professionals and to improve the standard of specialized medical and nursing education. The future strategy is to develop a 57357 Health Sciences Training Academy to create a new generation of qualified healthcare professionals. The fundraising strategy that CCHE implemented in 2000 was the first Egypt had ever seen. There were several initiatives used to reach all stratas of society, creating a sense of ownership and excitement of change within all Egyptians. The current fundraising strategy is to ensure sustainability by increasing the endowment fund, selling surplus services to other hospitals, developing an aggressive investment strategy, and recruiting loyal donors nationally and internationally. To broaden our donor base, a group of Egyptian Americans have established a U.S. registered nonprofit organization in the United States, known as Egypt Cancer Network USA, which is assisting in providing funding for the new expansion, education of CCHE staff, and other special projects. A 350-bed tower, radiology unit, as well as the Health Sciences Academy and Research Institute are in the first phases of the design process with the support of the Egypt Cancer Network USA for the amount of $250,000. A 600-room guest house for children and adult cancer patients from outside Cairo, which will include a light care unit and a 150-bed palliative care unit, are also going into design phase in 2013. Along with the 60-bed expansion in the existing hospital and the 50-bed satellite unit in Tonta, we will have 1,300 beds. The buildings will be built according to the latest standards of green hospital technology, energy self-sufficiency, and at the same time have a family-centered environment. As Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Hospital 57357 is being seen as an icon of change because it has developed a model that all may follow.
I travel a little bit, and we talk to so many people, and regardless of their nationality or their background or religion, they always ask about Egypt. As a leading country, not only in the Middle East, but as a big, really important country worldwide. In this morning, we had an event in Tennessee, and actually I was talking about the gift of difficulty. And we had some time before the event, and it was obvious that I am Egyptian from my look, and everyone was asking about Egypt. You talk to Syrian and they will say, we want Egypt to be so strong. And you talk to Palestinian and they say, I want Egypt to be so strong. Everyone is looking up to Egypt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even mentioned Egypt so many times in the Holy Quran. And it's so obvious that very strong Egypt is important for so many people. I feel so proud of myself for being Egyptian. And when you grow up in Egypt without traveling, some of us might not realize the importance of the country until you start traveling a little bit, and the people will give us an idea about the country we belong to. In a time while so many people are talking and having disagreement and dispute, while too many talk cannot resolve any issue, it's wonderful to be an event while really people are doing something. It is wonderful to be part of an event while we are not only helping someone in need, we are helping very special group among us who are talking about the children. Helping children is not only an effort we encourage to do by God, but it's even a human being effort. When you see a smile in the face of a child, when you feel like you can improve the status of a kid, 5 years old, and he has his family as well, her family as well has a huge doubt about him or her being alive for a few weeks or days. I was talking to a pediatrician and he said to me, I like working with kids. And I said to him, why? He said, because kids are the future. And you might be an internal medicine dealing with a very old people. I like old people, by the way. But he said, working with kids is so special. Why? Because you make a difference. People intend to say Egyptian must work together, regardless of their religion, Muslim or Christian. And I feel like we must not talk about this at all. It has to be giving. I don't think we have to look to each other as someone being Muslim or Christian or any other. I think we have to look to each other as people sharing a piece of land. We don't have to say drinking water is important. People drink water anyway. People have to eat to survive. We as an Egyptian, all of us must work together to improve our country, to improve the future of the Middle East, to be the role model, not only in terms of bringing a model like this model, while imagine about Libyan people, or Algerian community, or Moroccan community, Syrian community adopt such a project. We will make a huge difference in the Middle and Far East. If each group in America immigrate to America for a while now, can learn from this wonderful group here today, that they can make a difference through action, not through talking or commercial. I think it can be something so wonderful. You can talk to any imam or any pastor or any religious person, and we always get to visit people while they are sick. And one of the issue, all of them can appreciate a lot the attention of others. Even if you cannot help financially, sometimes remembering people, sending a flower, talking about their issue, advocating for them, can be a very positive rule to do. I hope and pray that this effort will be magnified, and I hope that all Egyptians in U.S. can adopt this method today, and hopefully the number of the kids with cancer in Egypt will decline. And then we can start working with hepatitis C. So many Egyptians are suffering with hepatitis C. We can start working with so many girls in Egypt going through crisis. And then we can claim that we are so proud of ourselves and we are doing something right. We've been taught to do this for the sake of God. So we don't do this to please people around us, but to please Him only. As indeed, God is the only one can please us. He is the only one can reward us. He is the only one can promise us and keep His promise. We might complement each other, but God is the only one with the infinite power, being able to do so. So let us please God by helping His creation, by doing something for the kids. I was mentioning earlier, I was talking to my daughter, 6 years old, and she said, "Why are you traveling today?" And I said to her, I am going to help, or try to help, the children in Egypt with cancer. And she said, "This is wonderful, I want to grow up, and I want to make so much money," and they gave it for charity. I'm sure any child being born in America can have such a way of thinking, but our kids in Egypt, they are not capable yet of having such a dream because of the crisis the country is going through. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watch over Egypt. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all of us to be united. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your effort today as well as the effort of others. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help Egypt to be the role model, not only to the country in the Middle East, but may God help Egypt to be the role model for the countries worldwide. May God bless all of us and watch over us all. Hazim told me to keep it short, and I am keeping it short. Thank you very much.
All right. Let me please introduce Mr. Jonathan Bailey, the talented architect of the Cancer Children Hospital in Egypt, the designer of the building and the designer of the next building. And as I said in the beginning, he just landed from Italy, and to my surprise, he is leaving to Italy tomorrow morning. He just came here to be with us, just for one night from Italy. So please welcome him.
Well, you guys have to be patient with me, okay, because I'm not a computer person and I'm not a public speaker and I haven't thought for 2 days. I just got off the plane. One thing I'd like to offer, as I'm speaking is if there's any questions that you have, there's sort of I do interviews on, all we do is hospitals, that's all we do. And we do a lot of children's hospitals all over the world. And we've been asked to do, just in the last 6 months, we've been asked to do a children's cancer hospital in Iraq, a children's cancer hospital in Alexandria, Egypt, a children's cancer hospital somewhere in Morocco, I don't remember, a children's hospital, cancer hospital in, there's another one in the Middle East, but I don't remember it. But this is the one, I mean, we're a big company, and I work with a lot of prime ministers and dictators and so on because healthcare is a thing that people get elected on and people love them for. So I don't get to design a lot of hospitals anymore, although it's my passion. This is my baby. This was my baby from the very beginning because of a whole lot of reasons. So like I said, if you have any questions, just ask me. I'm going to try to do this really quickly. We were called years ago. I was in our London office, and we received this call from this guy in Egypt. And keep in mind, we get calls from everywhere, and wanted us on a plane to wanted the director of my office there, and wanted me and anyone. It was just actually, I think it ended up being Nick and I, to fly down to Cairo, Egypt, because they wanted to do a children's cancer hospital. Okay, I used to do the around the world trip every 3 months with 17 stops, to 21 stops, and then start all over again. And so it was actually on one of my around the world trips. And I said, Nick, yeah, let's just go on down. We'll check it out. And it was right after the Japanese tourists were killed. Do you remember? And the tourism was just completely zip. And I'll never forget it. First time in Cairo, and my travel agent put me at the Minna House. And we drove up in front of this big old place. You know, it was completely dark. There wasn't a light on. When we drove up, we had a knock on the doors. They opened the doors and turned the lights on. They turned the lights on the reception desk. There was not one single person in the place. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen, frankly. So that was my first image of Cairo, okay? The only thing I asked the next morning is that when I wake up, I want to see a pyramid, okay? And he said, don't worry about it. Put me in this, a bedroom almost half the size of this room with ceilings another third tall. It's the most amazing room you ever saw in your life. These huge doors. Wake up in the morning, and he said, I promise you, Mr. Bailey, it was 2:30 in the morning when I got there, and I was knackered, completely knackered. He said, I promise you, you'll see a pyramid. So I opened the door the next morning, and I didn't see a pyramid. I had the pyramid up in my face. I mean, it was literally right up against my face. So Cairo all of a sudden got a little bit better, okay? So we go to this place that Sharif is at. There's Sharif and two women. And one of the women are still with him, Pat Pruden, who's the voice that you heard earlier. And we go into this building that looked like it had been bombed, okay? We get into this lift that's my shoulders rubbed both sides of it. Nick refused to get in it. We had to go up to the 11th floor, I think it was. There was no walls on the lift. It was just the floor. If you leaned up against it, the bricks would carry you down. You'd tear you into the crack. And we got off, and there were feces of animals that you had to step over on the walkway when you got out of the lift. And I looked at Nick, and I said, this is crazy. This is worse than Sri Lanka, you know. And so he said, I'll just knock on the door. So we went over, we knocked on this door, and this person opens the door. I think it may have been Sharif or Pat. And I promise you, where we designed this hospital was not any bigger than if you took from that table to that table and to this wall. And that's probably bigger than it was, okay? And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And he says, we're gonna design a children's hospital. This is not with us. I'm not gonna be back down here. This is just horrible, okay? And he said, I said, we've got a flight out this afternoon. We're leaving, and it's nice meeting you. And but see, the one thing I didn't tell you is that we had helped them try to figure out how to draw blood in that culture. So we had put a connection together, I don't know, maybe a year earlier with one of my offices in the U.S. And anyhow, so I wanted to meet this person that had us do this. And so he said, okay, just before you leave, I just want to take you over to our hospital, the National Institute of Cancer, where the children are. And I have pictures of this thing, okay? But it doesn't do it justice. And I asked Pat while I was in Italy this week, because I just flown over there to Italy this last week from Dallas. And I said, can you send me some pictures of the NCI? You know, I said, all you have to do is take pictures of it right now because it's still got patients in it. It's horrible. And she said, oh, no, we can't. We can't take pictures of it. Well, anyhow, I go in a suit. It's when I actually stopped wearing a tie because it was 17 floors of the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my life, honestly. And I only made it up to the 4th floor. I've never in my life, and I've done hospitals forever, ever had people throw their babies at my feet. And I couldn't move because there were so many children thrown at my feet that were gray skin colored. We were going up the stairs, the lifts didn't work. And this water kept pouring down the staircase. I was like, what is the leak? Well, it was them cleaning it, but it was this mud that was coming down the staircase. And getting all over the babies, getting all over the moms that are throwing the babies at my feet. And we made it up to the 4th floor, went into a patient room, and the room was designed for 4 babies, okay, 4 kids. And not for a parent to sleep in, just 4 kids. They had taken and had at least 8 to 10 cots, side by side, no space between them, that you had to crawl from the foot, no linens, okay? It was so hot. The windows were all open, there's no air conditioning, it's solid concrete walls, concrete floor, concrete ceiling. I saw 2 rats run out from under the round at the same time that I walked into that room, and I looked over, and there was a baby that had been dead for at least 3 days, and the mom was still holding it. And I made the mistake of crying, okay, when I saw the baby. But keep in mind, on each bed, each cot, okay, there was 2 moms and 2 kids. So there was, if you had 10 in there, there was 40 people living in this room, okay? So they started this wailing that just completely, I've never heard anything like it because this building is solid concrete. And this woman started wailing, and then that room was all wailing, and then the whole floor was wailing, and the building was wailing. And I was crying, Nick was crying. All we could do is, there were babies all behind us, we couldn't move, so they stuck us in a closet, okay? And they said, we'll have to wait till it all comes down out there. You know, we've never had anybody like you here. And so, right next to this room was a door. And he said, I want to show you how, show you the people doing the IV, the chemotherapy bags, okay? And chemotherapy is poison. It vaporizes. You have to have it. You have to have all kinds of hoods and all kinds of, in America, anywhere else in the world, you have to get that stuff away from the people using it. There was a room about the size of a table and a half that had 11 or 12 women on the floor with 1 light bulb hanging from a cord in a concrete room, okay? They had bags piled up like sandbags, you see, when a hurricane hits. And they were sitting on the floor. They had no fingernails. They had no hair. They were gray as the concrete. And I said, Nick, we just got to go. I don't know what to do. I mean, it was beyond anything I've ever seen in my career still. And we've worked everywhere, okay? So they got us out of the building, and we left. We just left. And, I still can't stop thinking about it. I still think about it. And got a call from Sharif, and he said, will you come back? Maybe it was Pat, will you come back? And I told Nick, we got to go back. We have to go back, And he said, it's just not a good business decision. You're the chairman of this big company, and you don't need to be going down there working with these people. They don't even have any money. And I said, but we got to go back. So I took Nick and another person with me. We went down, and we met with them. And long story short, we ended up donating most of our fee to make sure this building happened. And that's what happened. That's how I got hired. We weren't even, they had a local architect that was doing it for free. And what do you get when you buy something for nothing? You get zip. Okay, so we get this call 3 or 4 years later, because we only did up through the design development, the detail-y part of the design, that the building was really tortured, and would you please save us? But we don't have any money. So I sent a team of people down, and we finished the building for them. Same thing happened on the interiors. The interiors was a complete mess, and went down and finished it. So anyhow, that is why I'm here. I'd say that one of the questions that happened, and I've got this, I've got an Apple computer. I can do as much as I can do on a phone on a computer, okay? But I've got like a slideshow, if it works, okay? But I don't know how to do it if I don't do a slideshow with it, so I'm afraid I'll mess everything up. So I'm going to tell you about it, and then I'm going to let you see it, okay? We started out the design, and they had no staff. Keep in mind, they don't have anybody to work at the place either. They have a very few people, that work at the National Institute of Cancer that basically, work between the children's hospital and the big Institute for Cancer, okay? So we started trying to design this building, and we had to interview every single department head and anybody else within the department that is significant enough that they actually need to politically be appeased, okay? I've had some other projects that they don't believe it. Actually, one in Hawaii. We do a lot of work out in Hawaii. But no one that came into that room wanted to sit in that room because they didn't believe this building would ever happen. This was just a joke, okay? So we had to squish out information from the most hostile group of people you've ever met in your life in that little itty-bitty space. When we actually came up with a solution, we realized that the only way this building is going to happen is that if you don't have enough staff and you don't have any money, is you have to save as much space as possible and utilize the staff as much as you can. And that's the reason for the circular nursing unit. Because if you stand in the middle of that table, everybody's been in a hospital or been around a hospital. They usually have long corridors in them, right? On one side or either side, both sides is patient rooms. Well, if a nurse is on one end and somebody's screaming at the other end, they don't know it, okay? So what we did is that we said, okay, what if we only had one person in that nursing unit that's a nurse, and we stuck her right in the middle of it? Where do we want the rooms? We want them equal distance all the way around it. So the reason that the circles happen is for that reason. It took one person, and they only had to walk basically the width of a corridor, not the length of a corridor. It's so efficient. When we started this last thing, this big addition to it, we interviewed the people. It was really interesting to interview the people after it was built, okay, because these people have no idea what it took to build and for anybody to believe this building was going to happen, okay? And what happened was exactly what I told Pat would happen, is that and she's a nurse, okay, that you're not going to need a nursing station because they're going to end up nursing in little 10 to 12 bubble clusters, which is what they do. Got the best interview from this kid, and we wanted him to come back. We interviewed him on a Friday, and he died over the weekend, 21 years old, and it was horrible. This was just a few months ago. So anyhow, but that's how the curves came about. The building then, stacked off of that. We had to have all the surgical and all the other stuff that went with it. But the big thing was the nursing unit. The nursing unit was where we saved the staff and saved the cost. The sales were because Sharif said, if you put a pyramid on this building, I'm going to fire you if I paid you. And I said, well, you're in Egypt. He said, yeah, but I don't want it to look Egyptian. And I said, well, what do you want it to look like? He said, I want it to look like a modern hospital anywhere, but it's just in Egypt, okay? So I, come up with some different schemes, and we came up with all kinds of stuff. And since we're so close to the Nile, I was running out of ideas. And keep in mind, I was personally doing this because my staff was scared to death to go down there. So I was the one that was always, we had an Ebola patient walk in, I think where the skin all eats off of during one of the meetings. About 5 of my staff said we're never going back. While we were doing these meetings, I had one staff member had complete kidney failure, ended up in Medical City, Dallas, on dialysis, at 27 years old. Every one of my staff got sick all the time, okay? So it was really hard to get people to go down there. Not to mention that the tourists were killed that was still on the news at the time, okay? So anyhow, we came up with this idea of the sales, and it stuck, okay? And so I did some sketches of it. We did some models of it, like plastic models, like dollhouse models sort of things. We photographed it, studied it a bit, and Sharif said, that's great, let's go with that. And so the idea came out of me. It was actually, what was left. And I loved the boats on the Nile. They're just the most elegant sailboats, and I used to race sailboats. And there's nothing more elegant than a sailboat on the Nile. That sail, that is just such a different look about it. And so that was actually the model for it. We wanted to do it as like a solar glazing sort of thing to keep the sun out, but they wanted it on a specific side, and it does do that to a degree. But I'll tell you, the biggest surprise was we did 2 other hospitals, okay? I never thought this one would get built because we did all the work, and remember there was another architect. And it must have been like 4 years had gone by, and I just thought, this building's never gonna get built. I never heard anything. And so I had 2 clients that had seen the images from Cairo and wanted the ball. One's Arnold Palmer Hospital, and Mr. Palmer really didn't care, but the nurses liked the ball, and I was trying to do a deconstructive rose, okay? And then there's another one in Florida. So there's 2 others that were modeled after this one because I said this one was never going to get built. Actually, there's 3. There's one up in Connecticut too. I did. It's a little one though. It's a little ball, but it's a big hospital. So I get this call. He said Well, no, I got a call from somebody that had photographed it, sent me photos. I was like, where is that? That looks like that project I did in Egypt, but it never got built. And it was being built. I couldn't tell you, I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I've never had a bigger surprise than when I found out this building was actually going to happen. Because I guess I was like everybody else at the time with the staff. There's just no way that was going to happen. And we actually were asked to help come up with the concepts for fundraising. So we came up with the initial way that they started the fundraising, and that's what they used. So it's all these ideas that I've never knew that they had done because they just, they sort of faded away until they had a problem, and then they called us and we came back. So Let's see. So that's sort of the big stuff on that. I have to tell you one thing though. That I had the most incredible moment. I fly in and out, all over, everywhere. And I flew into Philadelphia about 6 months ago. I was coming in from London, I think. And I got to the hotel about 1:30 in the morning, something like this. And I was starving, okay? And all I wanted was M&Ms and peanut butter. That's all I wanted. I didn't want any more room service. I mean, it's a brilliant hotel, 4 seasons there. But if somebody else tells me 20 or 30 minutes and it's going to be 3 o'clock in the morning and I've got to be at a meeting at 7, there was no way. So I just wanted someplace like a Walgreens that was open. So I went down on the corner. I stayed at this hotel a lot. I have a client up there. And they said 24 hours, Rite Aid, open 24 hours. I went to open the door and he said, nope, we're shut. And I said, it says 24 hours, so that's tomorrow. And I said, it can't be. I said, I just need M&Ms and peanut butter. That's all I want. And he said, sorry, we're not going to let you in. And I said, look, what time do you close? And he looked at his watch. He said, 2 o'clock. And I have 5 minutes. I didn't think I was going to make it through this part. Anyhow, long story short, this taxi driver drives up. I'm in the back. Well, I asked him, I basically threw myself on the hood of his car, actually. He couldn't go. And I said, I need peanut butter and M&Ms. I mean, peanut butter and M&Ms. And he said, I'm going home to my family. And I said, I'm starving. Please, just take me somewhere that's open 24 hours. Please, pretty please, please. And I had the door open, please. He said, okay, I'll take you. And so he said, what are you doing out on the streets at this time of night? And I said, I just flew in, I'm hungry. And he said, well, from where? And I said, London. He said, what do you do? And I said, I'm a hospital architect. And he said, out of the clear blue, I was in his taxi 2 minutes. And he said, I know enough Arabic. I can tell an accent because I lived in Saudi Arabia for a few years. And he said something, and then he said, do you know, my little boy was saved by a hospital that was built in the Middle East, a cancer hospital. He had cancer. He's 11 years old now, but we've moved to America. And I said, really? I mean, I never dreamt for an instant that it could be 57357. And he goes, yeah, my child wouldn't be alive hadn't it been for the people that donated all this money. It's the People's Hospital. And he said, you may have never heard of it. You probably hadn't because you're from over here. He said, but it's amazing. You need to look it up online. It's called 57357. And I said, you're joking. I mean, I thought, you're joking. God's playing a really funny joke here. This guy's like, he's hired by my office. I know he's hired by my office. But he's got this accent, he's like little. And he goes, I said, I'm the architect on 57357. He said, he started crying. He slammed on his brakes, started crying, couldn't move. I didn't know what to do. And I couldn't believe it. And it was such a moment that I started crying, okay? Because he all he kept telling me was thank you and thank you and thank you. How did they find you? How? Because it's not a normal Middle Eastern hospital. And I said, I don't know. I have no idea. I just sort of ended up there. So I guess, since I only have 5 minutes, do you want me to do this thing? If I can do this, I got to plug this thing in. Okay. Oh, please let this work. They're out of, they were supposed to not run in this order. Hopefully they're all going to run. Because you'll see the old building in these. Those are some of our original sketches. That's the same space. It's supposed to be a big merry-go-round in there. See, those are original sketches, and then you can see what actually happened with it. Well, these are the new patient rooms. They're 16-foot ceilings. Each one's themed to a different, all the gases are hidden, everything's gone. That's the patient bathroom, all the LED lit, big windows. That's the patient corridor, solid etched glass with a forest. That's the lobby when you get off, that's the elevator lobby. Some of the new furniture. The walls are all going to change colors so the kids can pick their own color. The theaters, this is a big thing on that. I can't talk fast enough. And that's the big, those are the two great big towers. It's got two big towers to it now. It's got a big nursing tower. The nursing tower goes 10 stories below ground and 17 floors above ground. This is the old building. This is the old building. This is the one that was so horrific. I mean, you don't get it from this. I mean, that was a good chair. That's blood. Blood's everywhere. That's a 4-bedded room. That's that staircase. It's so horrible. Black mold, everything leaked. No, what we did is that we studied it 3-dimensionally because we had to convince them that you could do nursing in a circle. So we did modeling so that we could show Sharif and Pat and the team what this thing would be like actually when it happened. We did it from all kinds of angles because it's never been done before. It was never one of these things that had ever been done before. Now this was actually when we put the interiors on it because they couldn't picture it without their specific interiors, and this was the interior design at that time on it. But this goes from one nurse station to the other. It's so close, and you can see how this was done back, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, and it's exactly the way it is right now. So these are old. These are really old. This isn't anything we did for this. And they got it. We actually we did paper mock-ups on the floor. Now that's one of the original sketches. And that's the original sketch. That's some of our original, those are all hand-drawn drawings. This is some of the areas, and if you know what it looks like. There was a huge jumbotron on the ball. You see it right there? So that they could play video games out in the field out in front of it. It never got installed. There's the big jumbotron that was originally planned for it. And that's it. Thank you. Were there any questions? Because that's their bank account. When they couldn't believe it, when they got the first pound, Egyptian pound or whatever, they actually had to open an account. They kept keeping the money there in that horrible room. And so they actually had to open a bank account, and that's the number from the bank account. They didn't know what else to call it because they couldn't believe it either. Did you know that? It was the bank account number? Any other questions? Okay. You know what? He dropped me off, but he wouldn't leave me. And the place he dropped me off was closed. So he followed me around the block, and he said, "Jump back in. We're going to find the M&Ms." So I jumped back in. He took me to another place that was shut. And then we basically drove around for an hour and a half and ended up not finding anything, went back and ordered room service. Any other questions? This is actually from, those images you saw are actually from what's called the schematic package. So those are actually, all the floor plans are laid out. It's an amazing concept because the big thing I didn't tell you on this, we are looking at using absolutely no energy whatsoever. And the reason it went to 300 beds is because, and the reason we have tall ceilings is there is no lay-in ceiling above it, okay? What we were looking at, what we're still looking at, are solar engines, okay? There's two types. One is the type that you see there, which basically shoots water through a glass tube and superheats it to about a 1280 degree Fahrenheit temperature, okay? And then it shoots out, and that then powers the big turbines. And it generates massive. And so everything that on the roof in different parts of the building are covered in these solar engines. The other is a salt tower, okay? And what this does, there will be an obelisk. There'll be two suns in the sky. There'll be an obelisk that goes up almost 1,700 feet, you know, almost close to a half mile. And there'll be mirrors. This is the only issue we have. There are mirrors that are positioned that take the sun and shoot it to the top of that teeny tiny, it's a really small footprint. It then melts salt at about 600 degrees Celsius, 680 degrees Celsius, pumps the liquid salt down underground, okay? And then it's stored in a vat, and it stays at about 500 degrees C, and then water shoots through it, and it generates steam. And that's the one that's the one the client really would like to go with. So it'll be the first, I mean, it's been done. It's been used in California to generate massive amount of power. It'll not only generate enough power for this hospital, all the new addition, it'll take the old addition off the grid, and it would probably power about, I don't know how many houses, how many people's flats that are adjacent to it. So we're looking at building the building out of partially ice, because you're in the, it's such a hot area. We've done this before in Phoenix and so on, is that you build it out of ice, the walls and stuff. There's nothing more luxurious in Texas than to walk outside and you've got an ice wall, because it drops cold air down. So I could get into all that, but I'm out of time. Thanks.
Okay, all right. Please welcome one of the prominent figures of the Dallas community, Mr. Sami Ibrahim. He is a businessman, an engineer, and one of the main supporters always of the hospital all the time. So please welcome him.
Good evening. As he says, Sami Ibrahim. I live in Dallas for 34 years. They asked me to talk in Arabic, but I'm afraid, because the TV will see us, right? But I'm afraid I compete with Azzat. I welcome Abuna, and I welcome Dr. Azzat, and I welcome Fadilat al-Sheikh Bahlul. We really, Dallas is really honored by this visit. They asked me to talk why we donate to this project. I think I have 3 reasons. Number one, we were the first on earth as pharaohs to discover cancer, to discover cancer. And the Egyptian has 8 cases of cancer, and they treated it 5,000 years ago. It was breast cancer, and they treated by cutting it or ironing it. And it was really impressive for us as Egyptians to do a project like this. We are not only proving to everybody that we are capable, it is a continuation of our success as Egyptian in America or anywhere we go. And I think, if anything, I feel God's hand in this project. Always as an engineer, we think. We think about a lot of projects. But as a businessman, I'm capable or not? This is a big question. But if God doesn't have a hand in this project, it was unbelievable to do it. To be done, I think that is not human. It is, God has a hand in it. And we got really to complete our God will by contributing and supporting it. And hopefully, this project will be one all over the world to be known. We know how the medicine here in advance. I can see this project very much advanced also. Another thing, another reason we are really need to support this project is religion. I think we fast. We are, as a Christian, we have a fasting these days. One of the main reasons for the fasting, to be closer to God and also to feel with the poor how they feel, how they get hungry, and they don't have any meat to eat. But with the sick kids, not adults, kids, hopefully none of us will go through this experience for our kids. So I think supporting this project is essential, and we got to contribute at least yearly from all of us. Thank you very much.
اسمي جانا أسامة وعندي 4 سنين ونص وداخلة KG 2. أنا عملت عمليتين وقعدت 33 يوم وشعري طلع وهروح بكرة.
أنا شادي من منيا، بتعالج في مستشفى 57 وقربت أخف. خليكم معانا.
اسمي إيه؟ بتعالج هنا في 57. نفسي أنا وكل زيي وأخف. أنا من 60 سنة وأنتوا السبب في ده، بس أنتوا خليكم معانا. أنا مش خايفة، أنا لسه عندي أمل. يا رب أخف. ادعوا لي وقولوا يا رب. خفيت الحمد لله. أنا فاضل لي شهر واحد بإذن الله.
خفيت الحمد لله.
أنا خفيت.
All right, please let me introduce one member of our community, Mrs. Mai Musa. Please join us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mai Musa. I'm Egyptian American. I was born in Egypt, but came to this country over 20 years ago with my parents. And I've been living in Texas for over 15 years. Cancer is a horrible disease that has unfortunately been striking our children in Egypt and around the world at an alarming rate. The time is now to do something about it. Even if you're not in the healthcare profession, you can help. I strongly believe that every child deserves the best healthcare available. It's our duty as Egyptians and Egyptian Americans and as parents to help our children in Egypt. It is the least that we can do. I'm very proud to be able to have a small part of the great effort that this amazing hospital offers our children in Egypt. I'm thankful to everyone involved. We all want our children safe and happy and healthy. And what better way to help achieve this than to donate to this great hospital? Through cooperation and perseverance, our ancestors built the pyramids and countless other extraordinary things, one stone at a time. I believe that Hospital 57357, in a small way, stands as a reminder that this Egyptian tradition is alive and well. My family and I are honored to support this great cause and ask that you join us and support this great hospital. I read a quote today that I liked and I wanted to share with everyone. A small group of thoughtful people could change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you.
All right, we kept the best for last. So please welcome Dr. Izzat Abu Auf.
من مستشفى 57 357. يا جماعه انا مش هقدر اوصف لكم مهما قلت المكان هنا عامل ازاي. المكان ده مبني تبرعاتكم انتم. الاستقبال ده مفتوح 24 ساعه على 24 ساعه 365 يوم في السنه. يعني ما فيش حاجه اسمها اجازه. المكان ده ما بيقفلش وبيحاولوا انهم يقبلوا اكبر عدد ممكن من الحالات، لكن للاسف من كل 4 حالات بنقدر ان احنا نقبل او بيقدروا يقبلوا حاله واحده فقط لا غير. احنا دلوقتي بنبني اكستنشن جديد، السعه بتاعتها 350 سرير. انا بشكر ايجيبت كانسر نتورك على المجهود اللي هي عاملاه، لان هي فعلا لما مش كل المصريين، كل العرب اللي موجودين في امريكا، وهي اللي مسؤوله عن ان احنا هنبني الاكستنشن الجديد ان شاء الله. ربنا يبارك فيكم ويديكم على قد نيتكم وعلى قد الخير اللي انتم بتعملوه. مع السلامه.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, distinguished guests. First of all, I want to tell you that I'm really honored that I was picked up by the ENC to come here and witness this magical things happening in front of me, which I would have never believed if somebody told me the stories about it. I'd like to tell you that, as Bashmuhandis Sami just said right now, it needed a miracle to establish or to do what we did, or what you did with the 57 hospital. And by God's wish, we'll keep on doing this by your effort and generosity. All of us share this world for but a brief moment in time. The question is whether we spend that time focused on what pushes us apart, or whether we commit ourselves to an effort, a sustained effort to find common ground, to focus on the future we seek for our children, and to respect the dignity of all human beings. These were the words of President Barack Obama on June the 4th, 2009, when he visited Egypt in the Cairo University. And you know what? The guy was right in his opinion, simply because this is your opinion, and your opinion, and my opinion as well. We must seek some grounds to help and to approach each other. احنا نسينا الحكاية دي، ما بقيناش نطبقها كويس. الحكاية دي أنا اكتشفتها امبارح يا جماعة لما جيت هنا عندكم في تكساس. تخيلوا، for the past 6 or 7 years
انا ما كنتش بعمل حاجه غير ان انا بشتغل 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 بشتغل. نسيت اقعد مع بنتي او اقرب منها، مع ابني، مع مراتي الله يرحمها. نسيت ان ليا عيله، نسيت ان ليا كوميتمنتس لازم اعملها علشان اقدر ان انا ابقى بني ادم، هيومن بينج. فما بالكم بالناس دي اللي منسيه فعلا ومحطوطه في مستشفى ما حدش واخد باله ابدا منهم، او كان زمان ما حدش بياخد باله ابدا منهم بمعنى اصح. So they need this very much. They need our attention. They need our care. They need. We are living in a very very small world by the way now. احنا بقينا عايشين يعني بالسكايب وبالسيلر فونز والطيارات. انا جيت امبارح لغايه تكساس في 11 ساعه، يعني كولومبوس لغايه ما وصل للبيتش عملها في 4-5 شهور، وعبال ما وصل هنا كان يعني الورثه بقى هم اللي وصلوا مش هو شخصيا يعني. ف we are really living in a very very small world. بس احنا مش واخدين بالنا ومش عايزين نخلي زي ما بيتقال بالبلدي كده الدنيا تاخدنا. احنا لازم نفكر في غيرنا باستمرار، حتى لو كان غيركم دول اقرب الناس ليكم، لان زي ما انا قلت لكم اديت مثل بنفسي، ساعات بتنسى، او ساعات الدنيا بتاخدك، او ساعات ما بتركز. لكن الناس بتوع 57 they really need us. they need us فوق ما انتم متخيلين. انا رحت هناك يمكن مره منهم المره اللي انا سجلت الكليب اللي حضراتكم اتفرجتوا عليه دلوقتي. طبعا شيء هايل انكم تتفرجوا على الكليبس دي وانتوا تحسوا بقد ايه الموضوع يعني مش عايز اقول مأساوي، لكن كانسر is a horrible disease. ربنا يبعده عننا جميعا ان شاء الله. لكن لما تروح هناك بتلمس وبتشوف وبتشم وبتشوف العينين، بالذات العينين اللي بتتشعبط في قشاية عشان عايزين يعيشوا، عشان لسه صغيرين، وعشان بيتعذبوا ويتعبوا قوي. انا اذكر اخر مرة روحته ده كان قبل ما اجي السفرية دي بحوالي اسبوعين، فقابلت سوزان، هي اسمها سوزان. والله العظيم الحكايه اللي بحكيها لكم دي حقيقي وما فيهاش اي مبالغه ولا تمثيل ولا اي حاجه، مش عشان انا يعني بمثل فبمثل عليكم دلوقتي، انا بتكلم بجد والله صدقوني. فقلت لها انت عارفين بقى الكلام ذا نورمال ستاف. سوزان عامله ايه يا حبيبتي؟ انت كويسه؟ انا كويسه، مستريحه هنا جدا جدا جدا. هي كانت لسه مخلصه السيشن كيموثيرابي. Are you okay? Yes, I am. أنا كويسة أوي أوي أوي. موجوعة؟ موجوعة، علشان كده ده اللي مزهقني وعايز أروح. طب ما هو معلش عشان تخفي، بس أنا موجوعة. بس عارف حضرتك أنا موجوعة، she's 9 maybe 10، بس عارف حضرتك أنا موجوعة أكتر ليه؟ قلت لها ليه يا حبيبتي؟ قالت لي علشان ابن عمي كان مفروض إنه عنده كانسر هو كمان، وما قدروش يقبلوه هنا علشان ما فيش اماكن. تخيلوا وجع الكيمو، بعيد عنكم يا رب، وجع الكيموثيرابي ده شكله ايه. بس البنت دي كانت موجوعه اكتر عشان ابن عمها اللي عنده كانسر ما قدرش يتقبل، مش عشان اي سبب، بس عشان ما فيش مكان. احنا لازم نساعد امثال سوزان دي. لازم كلنا نفتكر ان احنا لنا ناس تانية في العالم الصغير جدا 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 اللي احنا بنسميه Earth، موجودين just next to us and we don't feel it. We must feel it. لازم، لأنك لما بتساعد ناس أمثال البنت دي أو أمثال الناس اللي موجودين في المستشفيات دول، صدقني أنت بتساعد نفسك أو نفسك قبل ما تكون بتساعدهم. ليه؟ لأن في كل أديان الدنيا كلها بدون استثناء، حتى البوذية، مش هتكلم على اليهودية والمسيحية والإسلام، الحسنة باستمرار ب7 أمثالها. مش صح حضرتك يا مولانا؟ مش صح يا أبونا؟ 10 أمثالها. أنا آسف، أنا كنت واخد 9.5 من 120 في الرياضة، معلش سامحوني. سامحوني، دكتور وليد لسه عامل لي امبارح تيست، قال لي نزل 7 معد من 100 داونوردز بسبعات. طبعا قلت له يا دكتور واخد 9.5 من 120 في الرياضه، ما ينفعش. فالحسنه ب10 امثالها باستمرار. فشوفوا حضراتكم الدونيشن اللي هنعمله ان شاء الله النهارده هيعمل ايه في الناس دي، واضربوه في 10 وشوفوا هيحصل لنا ايه في الاخره اللي هتفضل للابد. مش الحبه اللي احنا قاعدينهم هنا ابدا، دول هم اللي مهمين خالص، ولا يفرقوا ولا بيعدوا كده. صدقوني، اسالوني انا امبارح كان عندي 20 سنه. بليز. وده مش نوع من انواع الباجنج، بالعكس ده نوع من انواع العطاء. العطاء انك تدي علشان تبقى لك في الاخره، علشان ربنا يوسع في رزقك، عشان ربنا يديك قد ما انت اديت ب10 مرات. ده كتير قوي قوي قوي، كتير بحس ان احنا ما نحلمش بيه. المشروع ده اللي عمله والقائمين عليه والECN المنظمة العظيمة دي، أنا عايز أحيي and salute من أصغر لأكبر نفر موجود فيها على الافورتس المشرفة اللي برضو زي ما الباشمهندس قال اتسببت أو بتتسبب حاليا في ميراكل تانية إن شاء الله هتحصل. I salute you، وزي ما بيقولوا الفرنساويين شابو فعلا، وأنا بسقف لكم من كل قلبي، بقول لكم ألف شكر بجد، من أكبر لأصغر واحد. أنا مش هطول عليكم ما تقلقوش، لكن المشروع ده إن شاء الله هيتم، ومش هيتم غير بمجهوداتكم، ومش هيتم غير بالجنراسيتي بتاعتكم اللي أنا واثق منها تماما. Give any amount, give very little, give abundantly, but please just give. God bless you all. Thank you very, very, very much for patience. وربنا معكم. ميرسي.
We extended the silent auction to 10:45, so be sure to go check your items. I also wanted to remind you that the raffle tickets are still available for the hotel room. The tickets are, I think, in the back, and they're $5 each, and that's not a lot to pay for a hotel stay in this hotel. And finally, all the blankets have actually sold, so we thank you for helping us sell all the blankets that the girls made.
Please let me introduce Mr. Anwar Khalifa, one of our major supporters of ECN.
Assalamu alaikum. After all the speakers that have come up and spoken, and I follow Dr. Izzat, it's just, how do I do that? It's just so difficult, and I'm just so blessed and honored to be here and being even asked to speak. Waleed asked me to talk about why you give to the Egyptian Cancer Network. And the simple reason is because Waleed called me and said, Anwar, I need you to give to the Egyptian Cancer Network. I'd seen the commercials on TV, on Arabic channels about the Egyptian Cancer Network, but you don't pay attention to that. You don't give it credibility unless somebody that you know and well respect, like Dr. Waleed, says, this is what you need to do. So alhamdulillah, he allowed me to be part of the Egyptian Cancer Network because the work that is done to help people where I was born is tremendous, and the help for the children is amazing. I just wish I do what I can, and I know I don't do enough, and none of us can ever do enough, but we should try to do as much as we can do. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I think my wife should be me with her. Barbara? Okay, she's coming. First, I want to thank Jonathan Bailey for coming from Italy today, and he's leaving tomorrow morning. He's going back to Italy. I think when I spoke to Jonathan about 3 weeks ago, and he said 57357 is something in my heart, and I have to do it. He actually had a meeting in Italy yesterday. He finished his meeting, and he came in today. He arrived like 6 o'clock, and he make his way to the hotel. And tomorrow morning about midday, he's going back to Italy. Thank you, Jonathan. Also, I would like to thank our star of the evening, Dr. Izzat Abu Auf. I also, when I talked to Dr. Izzat about a month ago, and he didn't hesitate. He said, for Children Cancer Network, I will come and I will do my speech. Thank you very much. And actually, this is the third event from Chicago, New York, and Dallas with Father Bolus. Thank you very much. Thanks, Father Bolus. And I want to thank Dr. Osama. He came today. Actually, Hazim went to the airport 5 o'clock, and he picked him up from the airport, and he's going back tomorrow. When we told him to come, he just, thank you very much. I also would like to thank our Egypt Cancer Network ambassador, that's what we call them ambassador, Yasmin Al-Hag. When I called her father, he said, let me ask her, and thank you very much for Yasmin. Actually, one time, Yasmin didn't go to the hospital, and one day, one of the patients called her at home. This in Egypt. She said, why you didn't come in today? And she's still actually in contact with her. Dr. Bahir Haroun, thank you very much. Dr. Bahir Haroun has always gave to ECN since last year, and also at the end of the year, and I don't know if he's going to give today, but thank you very much. الراجل الكبير بتاعنا سامي إبراهيم. I called Sammy, he said, okay, I take table for 10. I said, 10 is not enough. He said, okay, I'm going to take another table for 20. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you very much. Big thank to May and her husband, Hamada. They not only given to ECN, they offer to accommodate the expense for Dr. Izzat Abouaf, and thank you very much. Thank you a lot. Mr. Anwar Khalifa, thank you, Anwar, for everything. But Anwar, I still have about 20 tie there. I need you to take 5. It's only $25 a tie. Special thanks to my best friend. I know him for 28 years. Our singer for the night, Abdel Fattah Shabana. When I was in New York last week, I just told them we have an event and I hope we have a singer. He said, I will do it. And he came yesterday just to be with us today. Thank you very much. Barbara?
I promise I'm next to last speaker. For those of you who heard my speech before, this is the man I grabbed, the Egyptian that I grabbed. So I'm glad I grabbed him. Anyway, without these girls that I'm going to introduce right now, we couldn't have done half of this. Like I said, they have their weekends that they help us, and I'd like them to come up so everybody can see them. Ayman Abdelgawad, Zainab Ali, Yasmin El-Bieri, Nora Al-Bieri, Salma El-Feki, Mona El-Garbi, Nesma Hassan, no relation, but that's okay, Malik Himani, Jana Kohli, Farah Madkour, Rana Madkour, and Summer Madkour. Please come up, girls. And then for the grown-ups, it wouldn't be anything without our committee. So when they finish taking pictures, I'll call their name. Okay. And these are married couples, Safwan and Amal. So if you want to come up or stand up or come up here. Ayman and Mona, Walid and Riham, myself and my husband. Nadia and Suzanne, my daughters, they're in the back taking the money. I don't want to let them come up here. And Hazem and Amal. So big, big thank you to our committee. We're not only good friends with each other, but we help the cause. So thank you very much. And then Nesma.
Actually, so far we have about 9 chapters around the United States. And I'm not going to say this because they hear, this is the best chapter I have. Thank you very much.
One more thing, one of our girls, Nesma, she wanted to make a speech tonight, but unfortunately the adults took over and spoke, and we didn't have time. We went over. So she did write a poem to represent all the girls about how the kids feel in the hospital. So with that, I give you Nesma.
Okay, so this poem is in perspective of a cancer patient and how they feel. Some people might not know this, but just because they are feeling better from the chemotherapy doesn't mean that they feel better on their inside. Sitting alone in a hospital room, just myself and 4 walls. All I see is kids like me, numb, trying not to fall. We take chemotherapy because it'll help us get better. But in exchange, we lose our hair. We're cold and could use a sweater. Normal kids wish for a book or a toy so they can play. All I wish for is to live without pain, at least another day. We have tubes attached to us. They say this will make you feel better, but they don't know how it feels. You see, we're just like a candle that's light has been turned off, or a flower whose water just might not be enough. People know this is happening, that it's true and real, but now that you've heard me, do you really know how I feel? Thank you.
Thank you, girls. All right, now some music. Let me introduce a very special guest, which already everybody have mentioned, Ustaz Abdel Fattah Shabana. They said that he is the voice of Egypt abroad. They said he is the voice of Egypt revolution abroad. He also have made 25 songs depicting every step of the revolution. He is a composer, poem writer, and a singer. Please welcome Mr. Fattah Shabana.
By the way, when I met Sayyid, I was 10 years old. What the heck, I'm going to speak in English. Actually, I wrote this song in the 90s. After I have watched all these videos, after all the speeches, I was moved. And I dedicate this song to each and every one of you, each and every one who paid this offer to this great project. And I'm going to sing this song to all of you. في الدنيا دي ناس زي الشجر واقفين، في الدنيا دي ناس زي الشجر واقفين، تضعف تميل الناس بيعدلوا المايلين، دايما جنود للحق ولا يخشوا لتلق، يتألموا صابرين ويخبوا دمع العين، يتألموا صابرين ويخبوا دمع العين، يتحدوا كل المحال وجبال أمل صامدين. لو شفت واحد منهم، لو شفت واحد منهم، انظر وملي العين، انظر وملي العين، دول هم دول الدنيا، دول هم دول الدنيا، وهم دول الناس، هم دول الناس، هم دول الناس. شكرا. مزيكا بقى وبتاع زار اتقلبت العود مش لاقيه.
أنا اسمي باهر هارون، بشتغل في تكساس في دالاس بقالي 17 سنة في شركة تكنولوجي اسمها تكساس انسترومنتس، سينيور فيلو، بشتغل في تكنولوجي وأبحاث. لكن أنا هنا مش عشان أتكلم على الأبحاث، أنا هنا عشان أتكلم على 57-357 المستشفى دهيت وشغل على أبحاث السرطان وعلاج السرطان. حاجة جميلة جدا وأنا اشتركت فيها من فترة قصيرة، وسبب اشتراكي هو ده السبب أنا بتكلم معاكم النهاردة. أنا عملت بصيت عليها بنظرة براكتيكال، نظرة عملية. في 3 حاجات الواحد بيدور عليها. اول حاجه ان الواحد يكون بيعالج حاجه ماسه. نمره 2 يكون الطريقه اللي الواحد بيعالج بيها واللي بيدور بيها على حل المشكله تكون طريقه مؤثره وطويله المدى، مش علاج قصير المدى، حاجه يحل حاجه لمده طويله. وثالث حاجه طبعا تبقى ادارتها رشيده والفلوس بتصرف بطريقه مظبوطه. ففي كل من هذه الاحوال اذا دورنا على الحاجه الماسه، يعني واحد يعالج طفل بنت او ولد في مقتبل عمرهم واهلهم يبقوا شايفين هذا المرض اللعين بيأثر فيهم، ويكون هناك علاج تأثيره فعال وينقل هذا الطفل ويولده من جديد ويبدأ حياته من جديد. فما فيش تأثير أكتر من كده. فدي أول حاجة. تاني حاجة إزاي بنعالج، وإزاي هذا الفريق الطبي الجميل اللي معمول بعمل أبحاث طويلة مع بيوت أبحاث عالمية ومستشفيات موجودة هنا في أمريكا وغيرها، وعملوا أبحاث وستاتستكس إحصائيات توري تطور، ومن سنة لسنة نسب العلاج أعلى، وحتى نوعية السرطانات الموجودة في مصر عملوا لها الأبحاث والستاتستكس بتاعتها والريسيبيز اللي هي طرق العلاج. فده يوري ان الابحاث نفسها مؤثره والطريقه فعاله جدا. اخر حاجه الاداره الرشيده، الطريقه اللي مبني بيها المستشفى والدكتور ابو النجا، وكيفيه تعليم الدكاتره وتعليم الممرضات، وطريقه علاج الاطفال، طريقه نوع الفند ريزنج وازاي بيدعوا الناس ان هم يساعدوا. طريقه الصراحه عالميه ومؤثره وقويه. فانا وزوجتي والناس اصحابنا كلنا لما نبص في حاجه زي كده شجعتنا تشجيع جامد جدا ان احنا نتعاون معاهم ونحط يعني ما نقدر عليه ان احنا نساعدهم للامد البعيد. ودي يعني اكتر من مره انا بنشترك في هذا المؤتمر السنوي، وبحس كل اصدقائي اللي موجودين ان هم يشاركوا باقصى ما يقدروا. مفيش جهه احسن من كده. مثال الصراحه لاي نظام خيري يبقى موجود هو المثال المستشفى ديت. فارجو من كل زمايلي ان هم يتبرعوا باقصى ما يقدروا عليه النهارده وفي الاوقات الاخرى. وشكرا. ثانك يو.
ايوه انه ميكروفون كان احسن، ده ولا ده؟ دي اول على فكره واحده من الاغاني اللي احنا عملناها اللي عملتها بفضل الله في يوم الثوره، بتقول ارفع راسك فوق انت مصري. ارفع راسك فوق انت مصري على فكره اكتر من الناس عملوها، والاستاذ جمال بخيت صديقي العزيز عمل غنوه برضه على نفس الشعر. و ارفع راسك فوق انت مصري دي خلقها الناس زي كده يا عزيز عيني والحاجات دي. نسمع بقى مع بعضينا بقى ولا ارفع راسك فوق فوق انت مصري، واللي بيجري في العروق برضو مصري. ارفع راسك فوق فوق انت مصري، واللي بيجري في العروق برضو مصري، والعالم فوق راسنا عالي وبرضو مصري. ارفع راسك فوق ارفع راسك فوق فوق انت مصري، واللي بيجري في العروق برضو مصري، والعالم فوق راسنا عالي وبرضو مصري. ارفع راسك فوق. الجدود احمس ومينا برضو مصري، واللي عدى البر سينا برضو مصري. الجدود احمس ومينا برضو مصري، واللي عدى البر سينا برضو مصري. دمي عفة دمي مينا دمي مصري. ارفع راسك فوق ارفع راسك فوق فوق انت مصري. ارفع راسك فوق فوق انت مصري. اللي استشهد في الميدان برضو مصري، واللي في عينه طهر نيشان برضو مصري. اللي استشهد في الميدان برضو مصري، واللي في عينه طهر نيشان برضو مصري. خلوا نور الفجر بان فجر مصري. ارفع راسك فوق ارفع راسك فوق فوق انت مصري. واللي بيجري في العروق برضو مصري، والعالم فوق راسنا عالي وبرضو مصري. السمر اللي في عينينا برضو مصري، خفة الدم اللي فينا برضو مصري. السمر اللي في عينينا برضو مصري، خفة الدم اللي فينا برضو مصري. وبرضو في الشدة تلاقينا كله مصري. ارفع راسك فوق ارفع راسك فوق ارفع راسك فوق انت مصري.